If you're an ambitious artist and you want to be one of the biggest artists in the industry, then you're probably going to need the backing of a major label. A label can get you added to the biggest playlists on Spotify. They can get you played on mainstream radio or even get you a support slot to go on tour with one of the biggest artists in the world. In this video, I'm going to show you what the major labels are looking for and how to get them to sign you. At Burstomer, we've worked with artists signed to Universal, Sony, Cobalt, BMG, and we've even had artists signed to major labels while we've been working with them. So in this video, I wanted to share with you exactly how you can do it yourself and what they are looking for. Because don't think that labels are signing artists based on the quality of their music. That is probably the first mistake you are making. Sure, this did happen in the 80s and 90s where a label would like the sound of an artist and they would use their contacts and influence to get them played on the radio. They would get lots of press for all of their shows and they would get all of their albums into stores. Now, all that can be done independently. You don't need a label to do all of those things. Radio has been replaced by Spotify, and we've already made a video on how to get added to Spotify playlists, and I'll link that down below. And it's meant that labels have had to adapt on what they offer to artists to take their career to the next level, which means there's been a shift in what they look for in an artist in terms of potential before they sign them. You see, when you get signed, it's not just an instant spiral of success. You don't just sign on the dotted line and then in comes lots of screaming fans, money, cars, sold out shows, and then a tour bus arrives outside to take you to the first stadium on your tour. What actually happens is the label will give you an advance. This is a lump of money that they give you and you get to invest it anywhere you want, and they get exclusive on your next, say, 3 releases. The numbers will completely vary depending on your demand and what you can negotiate. The label doesn't tell you where to spend the money, and you don't get any access to any special resources that the label has or anything that you didn't have already. And what you get and the money you get and the access to the resources you get is completely based on how attractive you are to them to sign you and how in demand you are. So these are 8 things that record labels are looking for to sign an artist, and this is how you can smash each and every one of them. The first one is to get your music into places where it can be used and get to a wider audience. You see, almost all of these tips are going to come from a point of view of how does this artist make the money back? We're going to invest money into the artist. How do we get our money back out of the artist as profit? So you need to prove to the label that your music can be used in various places, whether it's on movies, TV, YouTube channels, video games. Get your music in places where it could be valuable. And it doesn't matter if you don't get paid initially for these sync deals. Just get your music in places and prove to the label that it actually works and people want to use your music. So for example, a big income for artists, especially established ones, is people using their music in their YouTube videos, and they get a share of the ad revenue every time it is used. But for you, you just want to prove that this could happen to you. So we recommend using our outreach technique, which I'll link details below on how you can do that, and go to all of the YouTubers and say, would you like to use my music for free? And then you can build a portfolio of all the places where your music has been used, and then show it to the labels when you get that initial meeting, and that will show that you are an artist in demand. And the second thing labels are looking for is a ready-made fan base. You need to show that you have the ability to build a fan base. The fact that when you go on your social media, you get constant engagement. When you have a show, people show up and people are interested in what you're doing, and they're interested in when your next tracks are coming out, when your next gigs are. You've got that constant engagement, whether it's through social media followers, whether it's through your mailing list. This is what labels are looking for now. They need to know that you have proven that you have the ability to build that fan base, because that is where the money comes from. The fans are going to pay you and the label, so that's why they will invest in you. And that brings me on to point 3, which is create social media content. With Lewis Capaldi being number 1 right now as this video was made, labels are really hot on social media content, and you need to show you have the ability to create it, and you won't build a fan base without it. If people go to your Spotify and they listen to your tracks and they love you as an artist and listen to them all, the next thing they do is go to the About section on Spotify, go to Instagram, and then they'll see what kind of content you're creating and whether they want to follow it because they want to see more. If you just have nothing but advertising the tracks that they've already heard, then they aren't going to hit the follow button. You need to be creating engaging content to do this. And I will link down below our strategy on how to create content for your social media that builds a fan base. Tip number 4 is sell out your shows. You won't get signed without an A&R from the label coming to see you play live. They want to see you put on a good performance. They want to see the fact you can pull an audience and sell out a gig, because again, that's money for them in ticket sales. And they won't just be watching you perform, they'll be watching the reaction of the audience. That's how a lot of A&Rs sign artists. They see how the audience are reacting to you as an artist, whether they're invested, whether they're singing along, or whether your performance means you've got the audience in the palm of your hand. So concentrate on your live performances, concentrate on promoting your gigs and getting people down, because that is a key factor in getting signed. Tip number 5 is branding. There are so many artists out there who don't put enough into their brand. Your photos need to be on point, your logos, your color scheme, your overall aesthetic, because a lot of the income that comes into an artist is sponsorship and brand collaborations. And if you don't have a brand that another company wants to be associated with or think that it looks cool, then you won't make any money for the label. So you need to get your brand on point, your fashion on point. Imagine a big clothing manufacturer like Adidas or Nike wants to use you to advertise their clothing line, and they give you a load of gear to wear on stage. Do they want you as an artist to be associated with their brand? Because you need that answer to be yes, because that is where the money is. As well as helping build your fan base and having a consistent brand across your Spotify and all your socials will always be a good asset for you as an artist. The 6th point is merchandise. Because digital streaming doesn't produce much income at all from an artist, it all comes from brand collaborations and merchandise. So you need to show that you have the ability to sell your merch, but also have some quirky, good ideas that are going to get sales. Because anyone can sell merch, but to really get a huge amount of sales, you've got to have something unique, something that people want to buy. And if you can show you've got the creativity to create something that people will want to wear and be proud of, and don't just have your band's logo or name across a t-shirt, but use your brand that we discussed in the last point to create merch that people want to be associated with. And this will show that you can create a loyalty from your audience for them to spend a lot of money in your store and generate more of an income and make you a good investment as an artist. And the 7th point is get on Spotify playlist. It's so easy to get on Spotify playlists now. We've even done a video on how to get on official playlists, and I really suggest you watch it because not enough artists are using the new Spotify for Artists submission form to get on the likes of New Music Friday and major Spotify official playlists. And not only does that generate an income, but also it's where everyone's discovering you, and it is literally top of the funnel. It's the first place people are going to hear your music. So you can funnel them down and down and down to your social media, to your merch, but Spotify is where it all starts. So you need to be able to walk into that room with the labels and show what playlists you're on and where your streams are coming from. And the final thing is, once you've mastered all of those 7 points, you're selling out your gigs, you're selling merch, you're on major Spotify playlists, that's when you approach the A&Rs. And you can do that by going to LinkedIn and just simply searching A&R as the job role, and then go through all of the companies and try to connect with them. If you can't connect with them, you can try guessing their email address. You can use something like hunter.io or Rocket Reach, and it will find their email address for you, and you can send them your music. But you only get one chance to approach these people, so be sure that you are in the best position possible, so when you walk into that meeting, you've got everything in line and you can show you are a good investment as a musician. And before we wrap up this video, I'm going to give you one amazing bonus tip for getting your music in front of A&Rs, and this is using Twitter. What I want you to do is go to Twitter and find an A&R from a major label, and then see who they are following, not their followers, following, and then approach with your music all of the people they are following and ask for a share. And then the next time that A&R goes onto Twitter, he sees that your music has got about 30 retweets, all from his friends, and he must listen to your music and take you seriously. So that's one little hack that I think will be amazing for you guys to get signed, because we're doing it here and it works so well. In fact, if you like that, comment below. I want you to comment something weird like, I don't even like coffee. And that will confuse everyone who didn't get to the end of the video and just went straight to the comments. If you found this video useful, give it a thumbs up. If you want to see more music marketing videos like this, subscribe, and we'll see you in the next one.